Hey y'all, what's good? What's up? Here we go. Disclaimer, right? So there's actually going to be the fire thing. It's going to keep going off, so bear with me. And I got my glasses on. So bear with me today, because you will hear that. And yeah. Yeah. So hi, welcome back to the Hood and Hope podcast with your girl, Nay. See, y'all gonna keep hearing that right there. But yes, bear with me. Welcome back to the podcast with your girl Nay, and yes, hopefully he'll move. Hopefully he'll move. Like hopefully I'll keep talking and he'll go somewhere else. But who knows, right? Who knows? He's not even bothering us. All he's doing is riding by. Nobody's scared of you. Move. But welcome back to the Healing and Hope podcast series with your girl Nay, and I'm about to take this off. How you guys been? I know I missed the whole full week. Um, I missed the whole week up here, and I had a lot going on though. I had a lot of moving and a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't have time to do a video at all. Like I had so much going on, so much. Um, but I missed you guys, and I'm happy to be up here with you guys. Um, but transparently speaking, like also, I've been in a really like low space emotionally lately. And it's so crazy because it's just like one minute you like up here and then like things happen and then you just like, oh, my chest, my heart, like what's going on? Like things can really change so fast, like so fast. But for me it was just like things piling up, honestly. But I'm actually I'm actually coming out of it really, but I wanted to speak on it because like I'm so transparent with y'all about like what I have going on in my life, in my journey, because even like dark spaces and low moments, like they're part of your journey. Even if you like living the most peaceful, blissful life, like the enemy does not like when you are living the most peaceful, blissful life. When good things are happening to you and for you, the enemy does not like that. Like the enemy does not like that at all. So, man, I'm here go the mailman. He about to be barking again. But the enemy does not like that at all. Like when you really like moving towards like good things, a healthy life, like better things for yourself, no, he does not like that at all. I'm gonna let him bark because he about to bark. Okay, he didn't come to the door today. But yeah. So just when everything is just like, okay, I see you, I see you, I see, I see, I see, and then boom, you in a like a low place and like emotionally, like I've been feeling really low, and that's because I had to make like a hard decision. I had to make a very hard decision that is still affecting me now. So I'm thankful that I'm better, so that I can get up here and like make content, make this video. Um, I don't even like the word content. I don't know why I said that. I don't even like that word, but I mean that's what people would label this, right? But ultimately, you know, I wanted to get up here and do this episode because the episode has been planned, right? I just been really busy and didn't have time. So that's really what I want to speak on. But it's like y'all, like I'm just thankful that I'm really strong, and I'm thankful that I'm surrounded with people who get it, who get my journey. You know, like I'm glad I have a tribe who get my journey and who can help me like see beyond myself, because a lot of times when we are like in low moods and low like positions in dark places, a lot of times we are just only looking at ourselves and thinking about ourselves and thinking about what we're going through. So I'm thankful that, and that was me, like I'm so blinded by like my emotions and what I gotta go through that I'm not thinking higher than myself. I'm only thinking about myself and how I feel, right? And a lot of times when you are going towards, something bigger, when you know your bigger picture, when you know where you're headed, you have to always keep that in mind, even in times of difficulty, even when you're going through things, you have to keep the bigger picture in mind. But like sometimes like things that hit you so much that you lose sight of the bigger picture and you like only thinking about yourself. You only thinking about your situation. You're only thinking about what you are going through, what you have to go through, what you have to deal with, right? Because like I said, I have to make a situation that I'm sorry, I have to make a decision that's really breaking my heart. And so I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Like I'm so like being so stubborn, so like fighting against the current, the wave, fighting against it versus just allowing it to happen. But I had to like receive wisdom in order to be like, okay, Nay, you gotta think outside of yourself and what you're going through. And that does not mean that you don't have to feel your emotions. Like I've been feeling my emotions, trust me. I've been going through the emotions, I've been feeling my emotions, I've been crying, everything. Like just feeling how I feel because it's okay. Um it's okay to feel how you feel, whether it's angry, emotional, sad, like that's okay, but you also have to pull yourself out of that. Like you have to come out and you have to get back to thinking about the bigger picture, the reason why, you have to get back to that, or you're going to stay sunken. You're going to stay in that low place. You're going to stay, you're going to stay there in that dark space because things happen, like difficulties happen, situations happen, and you don't really know how to handle them. And I think because I don't think it was because I don't know how to handle it. I think some situations come out of nowhere that you were not expecting sometimes in life. Because, you like have a lot of things like set in order and plan, like, okay, but sometimes, it just doesn't happen that way. It does not happen that way. Like things can be set in order, but like you can be expecting a smooth sail across the ocean and then out of nowhere a storm comes. you know. So, in life we expect things to go smoothly, but then a storm comes and you were not expecting that storm. So now you have to, maneuver that storm. You have to figure that out. And as far as me, like I was not expecting the storm and the severity of the storm. I was not expecting. So it's really a little small thing, but it's like it has me like well, it had me because it's not just small to me; it's really big to me. So it affected me like really. It really affected me a lot. But you know, so yeah, like I was fighting. Like like sometimes you just gotta like not fight it. But me, I was literally fighting against it. Like ain't no way, ain't no way. This is the storm that I got to come up out of. It's a little cold, y'all. I like my heating blanket. But it's like this. There ain't no way this is my storm that I have to. I'm gonna turn it off because I'm not using it. Oh, it's off anyway. It was off, yeah. But I'm like, ain't no way. But at some point we just gotta like, okay, okay. Especially when you have, like I said, when you have people in your life that bring you back. Because not everybody has that. So I'm thankful that I have people in my life. I have mentors in my life that can hear my situation and really give me that wisdom to make me remind me of the big picture, to remind me of my whys, to remind me of why I've been fighting so hard, of why I'm here, why I've made it this far. Because something unexpected can really hit us and break us. Like a storm can really destroy a whole ship. So certain situations in our lives can really destroy us for weeks, for months, for years. It can really, really have a huge effect on us for years. But I'm thankful that it's been a couple of days for me. Like just needing that time to really process it. Like, wow, it's not only is it storming, but it's lightning and it's pouring and raining right now. So, that's just what I wanted to start this off with. Like, really just telling y'all that, always, like, even in your low moments, in your dark spaces, especially when you are going towards a bigger picture, because that's especially when you're close to the big picture, that's when the enemy will come for you the hardest and make it even more harder for you. Or even it might not be the enemy, it might be a test. You might be being tested to see where your heart is, where your mind is. Can you withstand certain storms? Because you can go through a lot of storms on your journey. You can go through a lot of storms and you can get through them effortlessly. But then it could be this one storm that you come across that you cannot get over. So sometimes you have to be tested and you have to see, okay, can this person withstand this storm? Because if they hit it, if they can, then the next time it'll be more easier for them. So even if it's not the enemy, because we cannot blame everything on the enemy all the time. Sometimes you are being tested to see what you will do, how you will handle it. And it's like, if you're able to get through it, you never know what's on the other side. You never know what's waiting for you. So also you can be tested, and I think for me it's a little bit of both. Because I feel like, it was a test, but also like when it comes to like me just being in the space that I was, like in my head, in my mind, in my thoughts, in all of my emotions, not thinking about the bigger picture, that was the enemy really trying to say, okay, you going through this test, right? So let me just put all this on you, all these thoughts, all this stubbornness, to make it harder for you to even remember the big picture, make it harder for you to even come out of this state of mind, out of this dark place, out of this lowness, out of this, all these emotions, So, you just have to know, you have to be self-aware. Like a lot of times I wanted to say, I don't know what's wrong, but I knew exactly like what was, like the whole time I'm in this space, like I'm conscious, I'm aware. Like as many times as I wanted to go left, like my conscience wouldn't even let me go left. Like I'm like, no, Nate, you don't need to be doing it this way. You need to be doing it, like, so just constantly like wanting to be so low, but knowing like that's not the answer. That's not the. I'm so sorry, y'all, but that's not the answer at all. Like that's really not the answer. You know, that's not the answer. That was not the answer for me. But still just being somebody who, I had to. That was just my past couple of days. Like that. That's just something that I had to go through, and I had to come out of it. I had to. Really, the boat had already done crashed. So now I'm just in the ocean, and I'm fighting. Like I'm fighting to come up and catch my breath and find something that I can hold on to. And what I found was the bigger picture. Like coming up out of the sea is like, like you holding on to that little raft or a piece of the boat so you can stay alive. Like I had to hold on to the bigger picture, and I'm thankful for it. Like really thankful for the people who are in my life and know the journey that I'm walking and that I'm taking. I have people, that's already walked this journey and, can really help me when I'm going through certain stuff that's really testing me, or the enemy trying to knock me down or trick me out my position, out my spot. I can go and say, this is what's going on, and I can receive that wisdom, so that I can just start seeing that clearly. Because when you're in a dark space, you can't see nothing. Where only your emotions is, because I've always been an emotional person. I've always moved off my emotions. My emotions has always been like my key thing for me. Like if I gotta make a decision that's making me feel a way, it's like I'm moving, navigating off those feelings, right? So that's kind of how it was for the past couple of days. It's like I'm more so just looking at my feelings. And although this is something that I've worked on, learning how to be emotional and logic, like use both of them. Like I said, some things are so unexpected that I'm like, dang, like it hit me like a stack of rocks. I'm like, what? What? So it really had me like not thinking logical at all. So I'm really thankful that I received the wisdom that I received so that I could start thinking back logically. So the fact that I'm in this ocean drowning, like that moment I came up for air, now I'm like looking around, like what can I hold on to, right? What can I hold on to? And that wisdom came, and it's just the bigger picture. I gotta hold on to the bigger picture, and that's what's pulling me out. That's what's keeping me safe. Is the bigger picture. Not the small thing. A piece of wisdom that we get all the time is don't lose the small thing, don't lose the big thing because of the small thing. And that's easy. A lot of things about growth and healing and development is easier said than done. Change all that. It's easier said than done. Like, don't lose the big thing over the small thing, but the small thing can mean a lot to you. But it's so crazy because all I kept thinking about was my sacrifices uh, video, right? About making sacrifices, because that's what it is. I have to make a sacrifice that I'm not so willing to make. But just after going through everything that I've been going through, I'm more willing to make the sacrifice, but it's still hard. It's still hard. So that's why the logic had to come. The wisdom had to come for me to start thinking logically. You know. So it was so crazy. Like, I just made a video about sacrifices. Because to me, I feel like I didn't sacrifice so much. But it's always going to be something you're probably going to have to sacrifice. And some things really be unexpected. Like, I thought I done went through everything with sacrificing. And then it's like, oh, again? And this? Oh, wow. Like, but yes. Anyways, today's episode is about starting over, and it's about me, having to start over again. I just recently moved to a new city. I have moved to a new state, not just a new city, but a new state. The Peach State. Yes, and I don't know. I just wanted to talk about starting over. So the only definition that I have for starting over, which I love, because I was like, let me see what this means, right? So starting over means to begin doing something again, sometimes in a different way, to make a new beginning, right? So ultimately, I have had to start over in my life a lot of times. And it's not even like with moving, just like even like starting over in new relationships, like in love, in career, in jobs, in school, like so many things that we have to start over in. And so it's like not just on like a huge scale of like uprooting your life and moving it, but even in the small things, like starting over can be really hard. I think for me, starting over it used to be such a hard thing, and it used to be such a shameful thing. Like, dang, like I gotta go all the way back to square one again. Like, again, I just started over like 6 months ago. No, just kidding. But he's so cute. But like, dang, I gotta start over again. I don't know if anybody is like that, but that's how I am. That's how I used to be. Like, starting over used to be just such a shameful thing to me, because it's like I would get so like stable and good, secure. Because for me, I love security. I love being secure. Like, that's a huge thing for me. So for me, it was just like, whenever my security, like my foundation would like crumble and I had to start over again, it would just be a lot for me, because I'm just like, you literally starting over from nothing. Like, you don't have anything. you just got you, and that's it. That's all you have is yourself, and you just don't know where to start. You don't know where to look. You don't really know where to go. So for me, it was just like, it was a very shameful thing. Like, I don't really want to start over, but you have to. You have to. And I think now, like when I made the decision to move here, and I knew that I would have to start over, I was super excited. So that's why even the situation that I was just talking about in the beginning really shocked me, because I was just like so happy, so happy, and then boom, like. But I don't want to give out this message of like, when things are getting good, something bad. Like I don't know. That's not the message. Like when literally, like the message is really like when you are going towards a big picture, that's going to happen. Like when you are going towards something bigger, when you are changing, when you are growing, things are going to happen. The point of it is to be able to navigate the storm. The point of it is to be able to come out of the difficulties. The point of it is to not be low for 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, a year, like the 5 years. The point is to already know how to navigate the storm that hits you when you are going towards something bigger. Nobody's perfect. We are going to go through things while we're going through difficulties. Like even me, like going through that difficulty, I'm somebody who's already overcame how to think emotionally and logically, how to balance the two. I've already overcame that, right? But here I am in a situation and only my emotions are ruling over me. Why? Because it was the severity of the situation, that really like took me back. So it really just it did a number on me. But I'm so grateful that, like I said, I have that support system, and that I have like this strong mind, and like I have an awakened conscience to know, like, even if I want to like lay down in this, I cannot. That's not the right thing for me to do, right? So I'm sorry, my leg hurts. Hi, my leg is hurting. So yeah, with this starting over was very um my feet hurt, so you need to find somewhere else to lay. Yes, I'm talking to you. So I was so excited to start over for the like ninth time. I got like 9 lives. I was excited to start over. I wouldn't even say ninth time. Like I said, starting over can be like anything. So I was starting over a million times in my life. A million times. And I know some people can relate. Like people, but for me, starting over has always been because like I've always been unsatisfied. Like nothing has ever fully satisfied me to the point where I just want to stay here forever. Like I just want to do this forever. Nothing is like in life I've ever done has ever fully like satisfied me to a point where I did not want to actually start over. Even if starting over, like, and I wouldn't even say like the only reason I would say like starting over was like uh shameful for me, because it's like I grew up in environments. I grew up with parents who just is like what you doing with your life? Like what you got going on? Like like what you got going on? So it's like we have those stereotypes where we have this stereotype where we feel like the older we are, we have to have it so put together. I'm not saying your life shouldn't be put together. I'm not saying that. But I feel like there shouldn't be a time limit on having to have your life together. Because like in a lot of ways we have to find ourselves too. Like I said, from the time I started working and being in relationships and being out on my own, nothing ever satisfied me enough to say this is where I want to be forever, and I'm never going to start over. Never. So me starting over so many times in my life was kind of inevitable, because nothing ever made me want to stay. Nothing ever made me want to be like, this is it for me. No. So I had to start over. Like if you don't start over, you're not going to have something new in your life. Starting over again it's like starting something over, starting something again, doing something different. So every time like I'm starting a new job, I'm doing something different. Like literally, like in interviews or like doing applications, I'm like, I like new things. Like I want to learn something new. This is why I'm here. Like I've got this experience. Let me try something else now. you know? So that's what it's all about. Nothing, and that's just the truth for me. Nothing, even in relationships, like, never fully satisfied. Situations should never fully satisfied. So, yes, I'm going to start over. Yes, I'm going to, you know, and not even always like in a new situation, but just me choosing to like be single and then like just start over like a new cycle on my own, you know. That's just what it always was. That's just how it's always been. Like, if I'm not satisfied with something, I'm gonna start over. Like, the foundation is gonna crumble and I'm gonna start something else. I'm gonna find something else. I'm gonna find something else. I'm not just gonna stay in places and in spaces where I'm not fully satisfied. I'm not fully happy. I'm not growing. Like, we just got the wisdom the other day that my mentor just told us the other day, like, when we in certain environments, in certain spaces, we get so comfortable and complacent that we don't grow, we don't change. And I think I realized that about myself too. Like, in certain like career, I learned that in an early age. Like, certain jobs, certain relationships, I'm not growing, I'm not changing, I'm complacent, I'm lazy in this situation. I'm not really putting in effort. You know, there's nothing here for me. So it's like, when you realize that about yourself, it's like you gotta move on. You gotta move to something new. You gotta start over so that you can come to a space, to a place that requires you to grow, to change, to develop. That requires more effort out of yourself. Because if a person, a place, or a thing does not require effort, you're probably not gonna put it in. More than likely, you're not going to. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be satisfied with where you are. If a person is not requiring you to put effort in, like, even in a relationship, if you're with somebody and they just okay with how you are, you're not gonna change. But if you come across somebody who is like, who don't play no games, like me, it's like, nah, who don't play no games, you either gonna put in that effort to make a change within yourself, or you're gonna get left. You're gonna get left. Some people don't care enough to require effort out of you. Some environments don't care enough to require effort out of you. Some things don't require effort out of you. And so you're going to be complacent. You're going to be stuck in that space. Because sometimes we don't even require effort out of ourselves, especially when we're comfortable. Especially when we're comfortable. So I think even starting over again, it calls for the uncomfortability that we need sometimes. Like, a lot of times I started over, I was very uncomfortable. New jobs, uncomfortable. Going back to school the second time, uncomfortable. But I knew, like, whatever it takes, this is what I need to do. Even when I meet somebody new, I'm not automatically just, I'm a little uncomfortable. Like, I got trust issues, and like, I already know you, like, well, okay, but we can get to, like, it's not always the most comfortable thing, you know? So starting over is like, it's very uncomfortable. And just depending on how you grew up, it can be very shameful. Like, dang, again, you got a new job again. You in a relationship again. Like, some people like to. I don't know. I think a lot of people shame. I'm not saying a lot of people shame people for like being in relationships. Like, oh, you got a new person again. But you sometimes just ask why. Like, some people just don't. You know, like I said, they just don't. What you require, they don't put in the effort. So it's like, why would that person stay? I would leave too. you know? So just ask, why are you always doing something new? Why are you always in a relationship? Why are you always switching jobs? Instead of judging, just ask why. Because it could be that reason. It does not require effort. It does not require change. It does not require growth from me. And it does not make me uncomfortable. I'm actually really comfortable. And that's a problem when you're trying to, grow, change, and develop. You know, it's good to be uncomfortable when you're trying to do those things. At each level, you should be uncomfortable. You should be uncomfortable at each level. So starting over, it can have negative connotations, but I think as I grew older, especially now with this new start, I'm just like, I was very excited, cause literally I had just basically started over my life. I basically just started my life over a year ago. Like a year ago around this time, I had just moved back to Greenville, like in November. I had just moved back to Edison with my dad. I had just moved back to Greenville in like the end of December before Christmas. So I had literally just started my life over with nothing. So fast forward to now, literally a year later, because I didn't get my apartment in Greenville until before Christmas in December. So again, like a year later, I'm back starting over again. Literally, I wouldn't say with nothing. I wouldn't say with nothing. Thank you, God, for that. Um, yeah, seriously, thank you, God, for that. Because I'm actually, I would say like I told you on the last episode, last year I had like zero, nothing. I had nothing but clothes. I barely had it, but um, now I'm grateful to say I'm starting over, but I don't have to start over from scratch. I'm very grateful for that. So it doesn't always have to be a bad thing starting over, but I think you just have to embrace where you are in your life. If your life is calling for you to start over, I think we should embrace that. I don't think we should ignore that either. A lot of people know it's time for them to start again, and they ignore it because of wanting to be comfortable. I don't think it's something that should be ignored. I think I think we have to start just doing it. Like it's gonna make us uncomfortable. It makes me think about the people who say like, I used to be on Twitter. I don't really see this a lot anymore, but I used to be on Twitter in my early 20s, my teens, and I used to see people all the time be like, I just moved to a new city with nothing, I'm living in my car, all these things. And I used to say like, I would never do that. I would never move like that. I would never go anywhere without having a solid plan. Like never. And it's just my thoughts. Like I used to commend people like that, like not because they're homeless, like well I guess they were in a sense, but not because. And these are people who just they moved off of faith, right? So basically, I would see people just say how they wanted to move to a new city, even though they didn't have a plan. Even though they didn't have a job, they just got their stuff, packed in their car, and they just moved off of faith. I used to say I would never do that, but look at me, I've been moving off of faith, you know, because you just have to trust God, and that's something that I had to learn over the past 4 days. Going through what I was going through. It's just all about faith. It's all about trusting God. When you walking with God, you have to trust that He will sustain you, that He will be with you, that He will you're not alone. Every step you take, if it's off faith, and if it's a plan that God has put into store for you, you gotta have faith. And even sometimes like God lays out His plans for you, you still gonna go through some tests. And especially if God is laying out your plans, the enemy is definitely gonna be mad. Definitely. So you're gonna have some difficulties and some hindrances. You're gonna have some storms come up against you. Why? Because God is laying out your life. He is his you're following His steps, His footsteps, his plan. And the enemy is not happy about that. I thought he had moved by now. Like anytime he go to sleep by me and I'm doing something, or if I'm talking or I got something playing, he will move. But anyways, um, but yeah, so it's all about now. It's like I out of nowhere I remember seeing it on Twitter. So for me, when I was thinking about that, I was like, I was somebody who said I would never ever do that. But now it's like I understand the level of faith you gotta have to really start over in that way. You know, the level of faith you have to have in God. Um, and so going my last 2 days, it really was like almost sad to me that it was sad to me that I was going through it because it's like, nay, like where your faith at? You know, like where your faith at? You here, you know why you here. So why are you letting this, shake you up? You know. So even in your storms, even in your situations, like don't lose faith. Do not lose faith. And this is kind of I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When I was thinking about this episode, I was like, it's gonna be a mixture of starting over and what I've been going through. I knew it's gonna be like a mix of both, right? Because I can never like just not tell y'all, like if I'm in a dark space, I can never like act like I'm not or I have not been. Like I can't get up here and be like, oh yeah, it's been a party these last 5 days. I just been just having a good time. I could never do that. I could never do that. I have to be real about my journey because when you on a journey, like it's real. It's really real. And you can have a year of great days. You could. It could be possible. But somewhere, somehow, something gonna happen. And it's all up to you about how you navigate that storm. So I just could never like before I even started I was praying and I just one of the things about me is that I realize why I go through what I go through. So, just asking God to always keep asking God to always keep giving me that voice, to help somebody else. Cause it's okay, you can get the best news in the world one day, and 2 days later you get the worst news in the world that can really shatter you, can really shake your faith, can really have you going through it. But it's all about your faith, and it's all about how you navigate it, and it's also about the journey you walk in and the people you have in your life too. Cause if I didn't get that wisdom, I would have been. I probably wouldn't be making this episode. Honestly, cause that really woke me up. That was like, okay, now you've been drowning and you only been thinking about yourself. You gotta think about the bigger picture and all this. You gotta think about your reason why all of this. Like you done came this far. You don't need to get lost in any type of emotion. So yeah, when I was thinking about the episode, I was like, because I want to talk about this, but this is the episode, I'm probably gonna be going back and forth because like there's a message in everything I say. You just gotta keep up. And if I'm not for you, I'm just not for you. But yeah, so yes, don't ever So yes, I was about to say something, but I forgot. So I'm excited to see what God has in store for me. As I start over for the millionth time. But just don't ever be afraid to start over in things. Don't let nothing hold you back. Don't even let yourself hold you back. When I re-listen to this, that baby's gonna get on my nerves when I keep hearing it, but You gotta do what you gotta do because this video gotta get done, right? Regardless. I'm sorry. But don't be afraid. Don't let anyone hold you back. Don't let anybody else's projections or fears hold you back from what you have to do. And don't always think you gotta have it all together to start over. You don't have to have it all together. You just gotta have some faith. You gotta trust. You gotta have God. Most importantly, you do gotta have God in your life. You really do. Because sometimes I don't know how. Like how how am I able? How am I able? How is this possible? But then I realized that, I choose God before anything else. So when you do that, when you make that choice, when you make that decision, God will help you. God orders your steps. We set a lot of plans in our hearts, but God's plan is the plan that prevails overall. So it's like you do have to have a lot of faith to start over. And you got to have a lot of courage to start over. You got to be brave. And you got to be willing to be uncomfortable. You cannot be afraid of the unknown. You cannot have fear. Makes me think about Hebrews 11 verse 1. I had just came across it, my Bible over there. I had just came across that verse the other day. I need to charge my laptop. My iPad. When I think about starting over, I think about this verse. It just popped up anyway. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. It just made me think about that verse. Just having faith in God. Like, a lot of times I'll be wanting to know, like, God, what are you doing? But ultimately, I'm actually reading Job right now. And I know Job wanted to know so bad, like, God, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? Why did you just take everything? Why did you take everything from me and I have not done anything? That was Job's story though. Because I be messing up. I do be messing up. But it made me think about Job. I'm reading Job right now. Like, you want to know why. But despite it all, like, in spite of it all, like, Job just, he weathered the storm. He weathered the storm. Like, if anybody asks me, like, who's your favorite character? I always say Job. And the only reason I say Job is because Satan came to God and basically Satan was like, the only reason he's faithful to you is because you've given him everything. Take it away and see how faithful he is then. And it's like, for me, like, no matter what is in my way, no matter how many times I gotta start over, no matter how many situations I get put through, it's like, and even in my moments where, like, my faith may be shaken, it's like, and I'm wondering, I'm wondering, like, what is going on. I get back up, I pick myself up, and I keep fighting. I keep having faith in God. Like, I come back to my reason why. I come back to the fact that, like, this must be for a reason. And I just gotta trust God. I just gotta have faith. And I just gotta keep going. So I love Job because it's like, we don't know. We have no idea what God is doing sometimes. We don't know what's going on. So we really have to weather the storm, and we really have to trust God in everything. Even when we make moves where we feel like everything is gonna go beautifully, like moving here, like starting over. Like I said, I was so happy. Like for the first time, I feel good about starting over. I didn't feel like, what am I doing with my life, or oh my gosh, I gotta start over again. Like so much. Like for the first time in my life, I'm just like, I'm ready. Let's do it. And yeah. Yeah, yeah. What I feel like it should have been an exciting thing, it has really been a trying thing. It's really been a testing thing for me. It really has. But I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that I have God, that I know God more than anything. Because yes, yes. It makes being able to weather the storm easier when you know God and when you have God. Because it's really easy to, crash out, to lose focus, to lose light, for good. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful. Very thankful. So now I'm back in that space where I'm like, okay, new beginning. Let's let's see what's on the other side of the storm that I just went through. Yes, let's see. Let's see. So I'm excited. So, starting over can come with a starting over can come with a lot of things, a lot of different emotions. Um, it could be such a beautiful thing, and then like as you're starting over, something can happen, or it could be a thing where when you're young and you feel kind of bad about starting over, or you feel like, man, I done been here before, I done been here a time and a time again. A lot of times you just have to keep going. Like I said, I've started over a lot in my life, but that's because I was never satisfied. And I think that's okay too, because a lot of times I was still learning who I was, and I was still learning myself. You know, I was still growing, and I'm still growing. So even as I start over again, there's a lot of new things waiting on me to learn about myself and who I am, who I'm becoming. Starting over is a beautiful thing. It's a journey, and I think it's something that we have to embrace. And not like, even if you starting over from $0 scratch with nothing, you have to embrace it for what it is and have faith. Learn to humble yourself and pray before God, and really ask for His help, ask for His guidance when you start over. Because I wish that was something I was doing at a young age, and maybe I wouldn't have started over so much. you know, because at the end of the day, like I was really like I was seeking for something that would like finally satisfy me. Like, this is it. But I never got that. This is it, which is why I've always been somebody who had to start over, because I could never find what I was searching for in the things that I was, starting over in. So I don't know. I don't. I feel like I found that satisfaction, but I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna start over again. I'm not gonna say that won't happen. Cause let's just say I get married. That's like starting over again. Or I have kids. That's a new beginning. That's making a new beginning. So I'm not gonna say I will never start over again. But I will say that I'm in a space where I found that satisfaction that I've been searching for my whole life. So that's very good for me. Um, in my opinion, that's very good for me. But yes, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be such a horrible thing. It's something that we should embrace. Starting over. Whether it's your first time you gotta start over, or your 100th time, or your millionth time, like me. Be brave about it. Be courageous about it, and don't let nobody make you feel bad or shameful. You know about your life, about your life, about your journey. And it's not going to be easy. Starting over is hard. I was hearing a song in my head right there. I think it's Neo, So Sick. I think that's what I was hearing. I was hearing the part when he was like starting over is so hard. So I guess I meant to tell y'all that too. Starting over is hard too, though. It's not going to be easy. Nothing about growing and developing and choosing to change and be uncomfortable is easy. Nothing about it is easy. And depending on who, like, in your life and who you surround yourself with, they won't make it easy. They're not going to make it easy for you when you want to start over, when you want to change, when you want to do something different, when you want to make a new beginning. Some people are not happy for you. Some people don't want that for you. So it's not easy. Especially if you're a people pleaser, like I used to be. So you got to get out of that tendency too. Don't be trying to please everybody when you're trying to start over in your life, when you're trying to change in your life, when you're trying to make a difference in your life. If you're a people pleaser, let that go. Let that go. Because that's not going to help you, because you cannot please yourself and please everybody else. You cannot change your life and think that other people are going to be okay with it. They're not going to be okay with it, but that's okay. You're not, if you're doing it for yourself, if you're doing it for the betterment of your life, how somebody else feel about it does not matter. And if they're not supportive of that change, of the new beginning, of anything that is for the betterment of your life, then you have to ask, is this person even for me? Does this person even deserve to be in my life? Do these people deserve to be around me if they're not really happy for me? If they don't want to see me change, if they don't want to see me grow, if they don't want to see me start over? Because it's okay to start over. We make it like it's a bad thing. Quit that job and start. Like, I always tell people all the time, like, I quit. I ain't had no new job, no nothing lined up. I ain't did not one application. What happens? I quit. No, I'm not happy. I'm not happy there. No, not satisfied. Oh, okay, yeah. And I always managed, like, God has always been with me. God has always been with me. Always managed to start over and get back to a good space. Always. Because you do have to think about yourself when it comes to starting over too. If you think about everybody else and their mama, you're never going to do anything with yourself. You're never going to grow. You're never going to change. They're going to hinder you from what you need to do. People will hinder you. Places will hinder you. Things will hinder you if you allow it to. And it's so big. Like, I'm so thankful that I have an awakened conscience. Like, excuse me. I'm sorry. And we all have a conscience, but not all of us are listening to it. You gotta be able to listen to when your conscience is telling you. You know, like, you have to. I think an awakened conscience is when you listen to your conscience. That's when it's awakened, when you can realize that your conscience is speaking to you and telling you what you should be doing, and you actually listen to it. Because we could know something, an environment, people, things are bad for us, but we don't listen to our conscience telling us this. We ignore it. Like, even with my decision, like, I knew what the right decision was, but just so going against it because of how I felt. Like, of how much I knew it was going to take a toll on me. But my conscience is sitting there telling me, like, just do what you know is the right thing to do, and trust and have faith. My eye twitching. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's twitching. This one. So, I think that's it. I think I'm going to end it there. I know I was a little bit everywhere today, but honestly, I'm not surprised, because I'm still coming out of how I was feeling, but I feel way much better. I feel 10 times better. So like I'm still coming out of that space, but I'm not like where I was. But I had to go ahead and get this done. I had to go ahead and get it done today. So yeah, I was like, we gonna do this today. Because I've been wanting to do it earlier on. Because it's Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. I have been wanting to do it earlier on, but like I have been in an emotional space. So I was like, I was just feeling my feelings, really going through it. But now, like, yeah, I'm out of that space, but I still have to come to terms with my decision. I still have to come to terms with my decision. So, yeah. So I'm still battling that part, like coming to terms with that decision. But at the same time, I am out of that space, so I am thankful. But yeah, I had some shrimp fried rice. It was so good. It was so good. But I'm trying to think. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. You talked about low spaces, being in low spaces and how to navigate them, especially when you have a bigger picture. You have to learn how to navigate those spaces when they come, those situations when they come, because they will come, and then starting over. Negative connotations and positive connotations to starting over. But if it's what you need to do, if it's what's best for you, then go ahead and start over, whatever that looks like. New job, new relationship, new places, new things. Like start over, and be brave about it. I think that's the message. Like don't because I grew up in a space where like me starting over so much, it was like it had a negative light to it. And it's like at this age, like you should have it together. Like you should, have all of, you shouldn't have to be starting back at square one. But that's such a like outdated idea. Like, that's such an outdated ideology or stereotype. So many people are in a rush to obtain things that you cannot take with you. So I'm thankful for the many times that I did have to start over in my life because it has taught me so much. It has brought me to where I am today, where I can actually start over and be happy about it. So I'm thankful. So that's the message. Like, don't be shameful when you gotta start over. When you gotta get rid of things and start your whole life completely over. No matter how many times, no matter how old you are, even older people think like they have to be stuck in a space. Like, no, you can start over too. Start your life again. Make a new beginning. If you're unhappy, if you're unsatisfied, and you're trying to grow and develop and change, go get uncomfortable. Make some changes. Don't be complacent. Don't be lazy. Like, that's the wisdom that I get all the time. Like, don't be complacent and don't be lazy. So I try to work on that. I'm working on my laziness. I'm like, I can be more. I was complacent, which is why I decided to move because like where I wasn't growing. I was very stagnant. So I'm so excited. That's one of the main reasons that I'm excited is because like now I can really put in effort to continue to grow and get uncomfortable. But I struggle a lot with like my laziness. So I'm also thankful for the move because it's like that I think that'll push me to get out of my laziness. Um, and like a lot of time my laziness comes from just like my comfort, like wanting to be comfortable. Um, so moving has really made me uncomfortable and starting over, I know for sure bring uncomfortableness. new people, new things, new jobs, like all that. So I'm really excited to be uncomfortable and allowing it to grow me and strengthen me in all types of areas, right? So, yes, we have to let go of the ideology that your life has to be put together by a certain age, or that when you hit a certain age, that's it. No, get uncomfortable, start over again. Start over again. Like, that's okay. Because look at me, I'm starting over again. But I'm thankful. Even though I got hit with some bricks, that's just a part of the journey, too. That's a part of the journey, too. That's a part of it. Like, you shouldn't expect. I don't know why I even, expected not to be hit with bricks. That's what happens when you get comfortable. When you too comfortable, when you start to expect that nothing is gonna go wrong. But you have to be prepared for any and everything, and I was not prepared. I was not prepared, but oh, you gotta have to keep them crying, right? I was not prepared, but I'm thankful. That's all I can say. I'm thankful. I was not prepared, but I'm thankful. Um, so yes, always stay ready, especially when you're starting over. Especially when you, like I said at the beginning, like when you're going towards something, when your mind is set on something, when you're trying to do better, you got a bigger picture. Always stay ready, you know, so that if a storm hits, you're able to navigate it well. You know, it is good to have an amazing support system or be surrounded by people who understand your journey, that understand your walk of life, because especially like I love that I have mentors because they walk my path. So whatever I'm struggling with, like they can help me. And that's a great thing about me even becoming a mentor as well, because like everything I go through is for a reason. So that's why, like in my prayer, I'm like, just keep using me, because everything I go through is for a reason. So that's another thing about stepping outside of ourselves. Sometimes is like realizing that this is not happening to me; it's happening for me. It's happening for a reason. And you do have to trust God. You have to have faith in everything that you do. In every situation, in every new beginning, in everything. So that is all I have for you guys. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. This drops Sunday, so I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I hope your week has been everything and more. I love you guys from my heart to yours. See you.